welcome to Tarot with Tanya. This is 7 cards for 7 days, and we are starting with the 5th of December. Years marching on, not too far from that winter solstice now, which will be good because that'll mean the return of the light. So this week I am using the Golden Tarot deck again, and then we'll finish with a Crystal Angel card. And as always, take what resonates for you, what feels right, leave the rest behind. Can be for someone else, just maybe not you. And of course it can depend on each card each day. I will give you a heads up. This week is a little tougher looking than I think any other week since I've been doing this. More challenging cards appeared. My immediate intuitive sense was surrender, that it is a good time to let go of some of our burdens, hand it over to Spirit. And then when I picked that Crystal Angel card, that's exactly the message that came through. So it's very much on the masculine side this time, with swords and wands, which depending on the cards can be a little bit more challenging. And as I mentioned, we definitely have some of those that have popped up this week. So I'll cover both the light and dark aspects of those for you. But overall, hold on. It does start nicely and end nicely. It's just we got some middle parts there that are a little more challenging. So we are now moon in Taurus, so that means that we'll be shifting on Monday into Gemini, I believe. And again, that's a mental energy as well. But we do start off the week, our Monday, December 5th, with the Page of Cups. So cups are a feminine energy, the water energy, the intuitive, the empathic, things like that. And generally the pages are messengers. This one often representing love, the open heart. So maybe you are offered some kind of love tomorrow, some generous gesture comes your way, or maybe you are the person being the generous one, offering love, offering your heart in some way to Monday, and what Monday might bring for you. On Tuesday, we have the Magician. So, I'm trying to get a spot there where it's not too much glare. The Magician is obviously number 1 after the 0, the Fool, in our majors, and represents an energy of tossing up the elements. You have here things that represent the water, things that represent the sword, the earth, the fire, and so forth, earth being the discs. And what happens when you both rely on Spirit, which to me represents the magic aspect of it in a way, the positive side of it, and you throw things out there and see what happens, letting that magic step in and create beyond our ability to think of something. So you can set an intention for some sort of goodness or outcome, but then when you allow the universe to step in with its magic, it can be an even better outcome. The dark side, of course, can be manipulation, somebody who's using a kind of dark magic on you, that sort of energy, ill wishes and things like that. But let's focus on the positive. So we have a great Monday and Tuesday kind of energy. It's the next part that gets a little bit trickier. And that tricky phase begins with our Wednesday and the 5 of Wands. In the Thoth deck, this is called Strife. So there is an energy of competition, of feeling like you have to compete to stand up for what you believe in. That's one way to see it. Or there's just an energy of a kind of tension that needs to be expressed. All of the 5s in the minors, well, all the 5s in the deck, are under the auspices of the Hierophant. And that is that spiritual energy, which can be a very positive pipeline, your own inner connection to spirit, or if it's a more external manifestation of that, can feel like control. Like clashes with authorities, clashes with repressive ideas, things like that, or things you just don't agree with. It doesn't have to be that intense. It can just be like, oh, I have a lot to do, 5 things are pulling at me, how can I sort this out? But just know that this is part of the human condition. We go through these spiritual lessons all the time, and it's really how we respond, and that is our responsibility, our ability to respond. So that's really all we have to do, is be mindful about that. When we get to Thursday, we continue with some challenges, and that would be manifesting through the Knight of Swords. He always looks a little intense to me with that sword raised back over the shoulder. And, here it's the slaying of the dragon. I'll bring that in a little closer. Again, you get that sort of ring light aspect there. Sorry, trying to find that spot for you. But the dragon's in the forefront there on the ground. So it can be good in that way. The positive aspect would be kind of conquering the mental demons, taking on the negative thought forms, bringing in a fresh wind, a new energy, a point of view. The more troublesome shadowy side can be represented as being too hasty. I always think, because it's in the mythology of this, of the cutting of the Gorgon knot. The way to solve that was not some intricate meditative practice, but coming along and slicing it in half. And so that's one way to do it. You destroy it when you do it that way. So, just be mindful of those kind of impulsive, verbal, mental energies. And instead, try to use them to see clearly. And if you're going to take anything down, make sure it's something that you really want to take down. And that leads us into the next day. This is our Friday, and we have the 8 of Swords. This one always looks a little scary. Remember that it is a symbolic depiction. The person here, and this card often does use a feminine figure, really is not trapped. It is a perspective of being trapped, of blindfolding the self and creating artificial barriers. Of course, in this one we have a snowy mountain background, but sometimes there's a beautiful garden that's waiting for the person. Take off the blindfold, realize that these swords, again, are symbolic and not real. What are the thought forms that might be holding you back? Where are you stuck in a loop? Because 8, you turn them on the side, and that's a sign of infinity, which can be a beautiful thing if, we're circulating energies back and forth between positive entities and, getting refreshment from that. If we are stuck on a negative loop, that's more what this card can represent. So you just want to see what those thought forms might be and try to release them, free yourself. Saturday is a challenge too. This one is the 3 of Swords, and this one, honestly makes me cringe. It looks like a pincushion. The heart's been turned into a pincushion there. You have this sort of medieval woman, I think, a female figure, a feminine figure, sitting there looking like, what do I do? This is weighing on me. And what we have to remember, back to the swords. So we've got 3 days of swords in a row, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So a lot of mental energy coming in, and the 3s are creative. So is that mental energy being used in a creative way to envision, process, detail positive dreams, or are we using it to stab ourselves in the heart? And that would be negative creativity, negative visualization. And I think that that is one of the huge challenges right now, to take that natural creativity that is our birthright and to put it into positive visions for ourselves and for those we love, for the animals, for nature in general, for the world. To use that in a positive way, which 3 does support. All the 3s are connected to the Empress, the bounty, the love, the abundance, the art, creativity in a positive sense in general. So just know on Saturday that could be a challenge. It could feel like, oh, I want to create something. What do you want to destructively create, or do you want to positively create? And that is your choice. And what are your thoughts around your heart and the way you express your heart energy? And then finally, we get to our Sunday, and we get back to, I think, energies that are a lot easier to handle. You've got a pairing energy because this is a 2. Thoth was one of the first decks I learned from, so that's why I often reference it. Plus, I just think it's an incredible deck, very powerful. And it's 2 of Wands is labeled Dominion, and you get a sense of kind of a clashing of energies. I see it as alliances, that if you can take a powerful energy and align with another person's powerful energy or another energy within yourself and create an alliance, that is a wonderful thing. So here, of course, we have a figure. The wands are both there, though it always seems strange to me in this one because one wand seems to be standing by itself. Is that another figure beginning to come in? There's a sort of meditative aspect here because, bringing it a little closer, there's a kind of an orb also held in the hand of our person. It can be, like looking out to the horizon, waiting for good things to happen, but I definitely think it's a balancing energy, and all 2s are also intuitive. So what is your instinct that day? What is something telling you that, it could be a messenger from the beyond? So do listen. So in recapping, a couple of Wands days, one challenging, one a little bit easier. That first one coming in on Wednesday that's a bit more challenging, and then ending on Sunday with a calmer, more balancing kind of energy. Starting on Monday with that loving, open heart, going to Tuesday, magic, creating something new, and then just kind of watching for those challenges that tend to be connected to the more masculine, analytical, wanting answers part of the brain. So from there, let's go to our crystal angel card, and that is Amber this week. So what does it say about Amber? Remember I mentioned the theme of surrender at the beginning, and this one says give it to God. I would say source, higher power, however you like to think of that, divine, masculine, and feminine, whatever it means to you. Take a deep breath, and on the exhale, release the situation to spirit, to that higher power for healing and answers. And I'll share with you what's in the book here too, because there's a little expansion on that as well. We receive this card because there's an issue weighing us down, and this burden could be lifted by giving it to God, Spirit, Source. You don't have to deal with the situation alone. We don't have to, as divine help is readily available. Perhaps we forgot, or maybe we are unsure how to let go and let Spirit handle the situation. And that makes so much sense with, again, the challenging energies that come up through the middle of this week. So as you read this paragraph, as we read it together, pause for a moment to pray from the heart, asking for help to let this go, and whatever words are sincere. Hanging on to a problem never resolves it, and actually can make it worse. And that is so true. If we start obsessing, we get caught again in that negative infinity. So Amber reminds us that Source has always been with us since the beginning of time and material existence. This reminder is meant to boost our faith that Spirit knows how to solve any problem. However, we first have to give it to Source because our free will choices are respected. So I hope that helps. I always pray and meditate before I do this so that I can bring you the best information, the best energy for this coming week. So I hope it's a beautiful one for you and yours. And if you are interested in a personal reading, and I encourage you to check that out, it really can be helpful to people. I remember when I had my first one, it was like, I felt like I grew by leaps and bounds. Had years of information given to me just quickly. You can reach me at tarotwithtanya@gmail.com, or check out my website. Information will be in the description box and at the end of this video. So, beloveds, wishing you a beautiful bundle of energies for this coming week.